Ahoy, hoy, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The O Show. I'm O, and I'm here for your amusement. And I am kicking off my 2024 holiday orphathon with one of my favorite specials Mickey's Christmas Carol. Ooh, Mickey's Christmas Carol. Ooh, you guys. So, what used to always trip me out about this is that 30 years before this came out, which this came out in 1983. 30 years prior to that was the last time there was like a Mickey Mouse theatrical release, right? I think it was called The Simple Things. And what? And I would have never guessed that because the 80s had so many Disney specials on TV. But I guess when you think about it, they just put stuff together like compilations. But I didn't care. I loved it all. There were so many movies coming out. There were so many, like I said, specials. It's just put together. And I would have never known the last thing put together was 30 years prior. But I guess this jumpstart the whole Mickey Mouse cartoon craze. And after this, they kind of got back into the swing of things with Mickey. But yes, a Mickey Christmas Carol is a retelling of the classic Charles Dickens story, A Christmas Carol, which has just, I wonder if that's the most remade story ever. Everyone has a Christmas story. So we're actually going to talk about a couple of this holiday season. But maybe I might change that list up now that I think about it. But anyway, so let's get right into it, y'all. This is Mickey's Christmas Carol. So let me just start by saying this is the best casting ever, right? Because you have Ebenezer Scrooge, who is being played by Scrooge McDuck. Whoever sat there, it was you know what we should do, you guys? We already have Scrooge McDuck. You couldn't have asked for a more better character. And plus, Scrooge was already kind of based off of the whole Ebenezer Scrooge character, money loving duck. So it's bam, perfect. So Scrooge is coming into his office place where Mickey Mouse is playing Bob Cratchit inside. But you know what's so funny? Before he even gets in there, right? So he sees the sign outside that says Scrooge and Marley. And he's like, oh yeah, it's the anniversary of Marley's death. He gave me money to what was it? He gave me money to give him a funeral, and I buried him at sea. I was like, oh my God, Disney, this is super dark.
In his will, he left me enough money to pay for his tombstone. Ha! And I had him buried at sea.
I don't think I realized what was happening as a kid, but then I got older and I watched that one year, and he's like, I buried him at sea. And I was like, oh shit. He's really not playing. So anyway, it's Christmas Eve, and Mickey's like, tomorrow's Christmas, right? I ain't got time for this. Can I stay home? No, he has to think of a half a day or something. And so Scrooge is like, yeah, I'll give you half a day. You're getting half pay. The last time I gave you a raise was when I let you do my laundry. Let you do my laundry. Bastard. So Donald Duck is playing Scrooge's nephew again. Best casting ever. He's already the nephew. So Donald Duck comes in. He's just like, hey, his name is Fred. And he's like, hey, Uncle Scrooge. Come to our house. We're having all this food. And Scrooge is over here oh, you're going to have this and this food and that food and that food? He's like, yeah. He goes, well, I can't eat the shit, so keep your food. It throws him out. Okay, so look. Scrooge goes home that night. And then the knocker on his door is the face of Marley. So he's like, what the hell? So he goes in, and the ghost of Marley's following him up the stairs. So then he runs into this room and locks the door. But of course, Marley's a ghost. He just walks through the bitch. And so, so he goes in and he's like, hey, look, I was an asshole when I was dead. And you see these chains? This is going to be you, and you're going to have more because you were worse than me. So I'm going to need you to get your act straight. And by the way, Marley is played by Mr. Goofy himself. So he's all clumsy and stuff. He's like trip over things. But you know what? I don't know why no one peer reviewed whoever the animator was at this part, because Marley's like, you're gonna be visited by 3 spirits tonight, but he puts up like 2 fingers, and I was like, wait, I do see 2 fingers, right? Like, no one ever went back and like digitally like fixed that after all these years. I don't know, whatever, but it happens, I swear.
Tonight, you will be visited by 3 spirits.
So Scrooge goes to sleep and he's like, whatever. So at like 1 o'clock, sure enough, the first spirit shows up, and it's the ghost of Christmas past, and it is played by Jiminy Cricket. And Scrooge is over here like all nonchalant, like he's like, oh my God, who are you? And this guy was like, I'm the ghost of Christmas past. He goes, oh, I thought you'd be taller. Yeah, I would have been peeing my pants. So I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Who are you?
Why, I'm the ghost of Christmas past.
Oh, I thought you'd be taller.
So Jiminy takes, the ghost. He takes Scrooge, and they go flying through the town, and they end up at this place. And Scrooge is like, oh my God, I used to work here. I used to work for, what the hell is that guy's name? Fezziwig. His name is Fezziwig, and he's played by Mr. Toad, who is a classic Disney character. So, but y'all, this party is like crazy. There's a whole bunch of cameos throughout this whole thing. Like, I was just living life as a kid. So, like, first of all, you have you got Lady Cluck from Robin Hood, and she's dancing with Secretary Bird. And that Secretary Bird is a character from the movie Bedknobs and Broomsticks, which Angela Lansbury was in. And then you have Gus Goose, who's Donald's cousin. He had a whole like cartoon episode about him. And then you got Grandma Duck, and you got Horace Horsecollar. I never liked his name, but anyway, his name is Horace Horsecollar. And we haven't seen him in like so many years, and he's dancing with Clarabelle Cow. You got Chip and Dale dancing, and then you also have Huey, Dewey, and Louie decorating the tree. So that was pretty cool, like seeing all the cameos in this gathering. So what ends up happening at this party is that there's a girl named Isabel, and she's played by Daisy Duck. And she really loves Ebenezer, and she's like, come dance with me. And they start to fall in love. But then the ghost is like, yep, this is how you used to be until like your love was focused on something else. And it was just pretty much him loving his money. And she was like, you're supposed to marry me and everything. And he was like, whatever, I'm counting my money. Oh, and by the way, that house you bought for us, is foreclosed. Oh my God. So, he screwed up that love life of his. So after that, Scrooge ends up back in bed, and then he's like, oh, Lord. So the next ghost shows up, and it's actually the ghost of Christmas Present, and he is played by Willie the Giant. And Willie the Giant was it Fun and Fancy Free? I think that was the movie that contained the Mickey and the Beanstalk cartoon. Yeah, we don't really see Willie a lot in things. Like he's really rare. He's actually the reason, well, not 100% the reason, but like that's kind of where I got my dog's name Fifi from. Because in that original cartoon, he's singing this song.
Five for Fifi, 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 Fifi. I don't know no Fifi.
I used to always think like, it's so funny. Like, I don't know no Fifi. And I knew a Fifi for like a split second when I was a kid. Ooh, whatever happened to that lady? But anyway, I was wanting a pet named Fifi. And so it happened. But anyway, okay. I'm talking off topic. So now this ghost takes Scrooge to the house of his employee, Bob Cratchit. And first of all, he is he is shady as hell. He's like, what's that thing she's cooking?
What's she cooking? A canary? Surely they have more food than that. Look on the fire.
That's your laundry.
So then we see Mickey and Minnie's children, which, side note, by the way, Minnie never says a word through this whole special, right? But fun fact, initially she did have lines. I think there were lines recorded. So I guess in order to get the special into the, not 30 minutes, because you got to like count for commercials and things, but in order to make it fit for the, it's only like a third, how long is this thing? 20 something minutes. It is 58 minutes. Is that right? I don't remember this being an hour long. Oh, you know what? I do have a 30th anniversary edition. Is there like more added to this? Okay, I'm gonna figure that out later. Okay, so look, in order to shrink it down to the time allotted for when they were broadcasting this, I guess they were like, something has to go. And they were like, well, whatever Minnie's talking about don't make no sense. So we don't need her to talk. So yeah, that's why Minnie never like says anything. But anyway, we see their 3 children, and the youngest one who's walking with a cane is Tiny Tim. So all of a sudden now Scrooge is like, ooh, Tiny Tim, he's so cute, but why is he so sick? Because you ain't got no damn health care, Scrooge, okay? So then the ghost of Christmas present disappears. It's Scrooge in the middle of the street, like, what the hell? But then he's transported to the cemetery, and we get to meet the ghost of Christmas future. So we don't see his face right now. He has like a robe on, there's a hood on, we don't see his face. And we see these weasels digging a grave, and they're like, yeah, like no one came to this guy's funeral. Like it was really sad. And so Scrooge walks over. He's like, well, damn, whose grave is this? So the ghost strikes a match, and then we see that the ghost is actually played by Pete. And he's like, it's your grave. Yeah. Okay, now hold up now. Did any of you guys notice this? These tombstones in this graveyard, I from what I understand, they are like real people. I don't know if there was actually people who passed, or they was just like, hey, you worked on this, we're gonna put your name on it, like whatever, right? But there is legit a gravestone that says Gladys Knight and the Pips. And I have no idea why that's funny. Why is Gladys Knight and the Pips name on a Disney tombstone? They're not in the soundtrack. Was it Walt Disney's favorite group? Was Walt Disney alive? No, Walt Disney was alive in the 80s. Maybe, I don't know. Does anyone know why there's a tombstone that says Gladys Knight and the Pips? So anyway, back to Scrooge. So Scrooge is like, screw this grave. And Pete's like, I don't think so. So Scrooge is like pushed into the grave, and it like literally opens up into hell. Like there is like fire and everything happening inside this grave. And so finally Scrooge comes to his senses. He's like, look, I'll change. Okay, I'll change. And he falls in, but then when he wakes up, he's back in bed. And so he's like, oh my God, my life sucks. I need to fucking make a change. So Scrooge decides like, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and just fix this shit. So he puts some clothes on, he runs out the house, and he ends up going to visit Cratchit and his family. And on his way, he buys a whole bunch of toys, and he's going to bring the toys over to the children of Mr. and Mrs. Cratchit so they can have a Merry Christmas that day. Which he still never says like, I'm going to have like health care. So you guys have medical, dental, and vision. But in the meantime, your kids can play with these toys. And I guess he's going to get a raise. Okay, so anyway, That's how the special ends. It's a happy ending, okay? But you guys, like, back to all these cameos again, like, it is like full of cameos. So we rewind back to the beginning. Right away, when we see a shot of the street, you can see the big bad wolf is collecting for charity. And then the three little pigs are over there caroling on the street. Later on, you have Skippy Bunny and Toby Turtle from Robin Hood. Okay, you also have Mother Rabbit from Robin Hood and Grandma Owl. Before Scrooge goes to the Cratchit. You can see Practical Pig is chasing two of the little wolves because the Big Bad Wolf had like a second story after the Three Little Pigs cartoon. We had these three little wolves and he was trying to teach them how to catch the pigs and stuff. It's really funny. But anyway, you see them. And lastly, when you see Donald at the end, he is on, what's his horse name? Cyril Prowbottom is that horse's name. So yeah, lots of cameos. So it's cool. So I love Mickey's Christmas Carol. You know, I like to watch every year. I may watch this because I need to time how long this movie really is. I am very confused. So that was my review of Mickey's Christmas Carol. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's always going to be a classic in my house. Okay, don't be hating. Yeah, you guys, it's still fun. It still has those, like I said, there's like those jokes you kind of hear. You're like, damn, is that for children? It's for the adult to enjoy too while the kids are watching it. Let me know your thoughts of Mickey's Christmas Carol. Do you remember watching it as a kid? Do you watch it now? Do you watch it with your kids? It's a fun time. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Speaking of Fifi, fi fo fi fum, fi 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 fi. All right, you guys. So I will see you all in the next episode. So until then, TTFN.